It's almost like music in some ways. It feels like genres almost of cutting hair. Definitely tried to push myself to do some different things than what I'm used to. It's hard to learn everything, and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather be good at something and choose a lane and try to be the best at that. We're doing what we want to do and getting paid for it. Like, I'm doing exactly what I want. My job is to listen to what you say and turn that into something good. A lot of the challenges are external, and it's not for everybody. I know it doesn't seem like it. It can be pretty physically demanding at times, but it does kind of wear you down after a while. My name is Raymond Decandia. I'm the owner of True North Barbershop. I'm gonna do this haircut beard trim on Ed here. Ed's been coming to me for a while. I was already into older stuff. I've always been like that, you know, in older music and older things. We were doing a different thing, but he wants to grow out this back area here into like a mullet. What we'll do is basically just fade just the side part here and on this side, and then I'm just gonna make this a bit shorter, remove some of the length and weight so that it blends into everything else. But this back area, which in a conventional haircut we'd be cutting out, we're gonna leave that. When I was in the Navy, my ship was stationed in San Diego, and when I got out, I stayed in San Diego. But Southern California's already had rockabilly, punk thing. They've always been doing that. Later, just that particular type of thing seemed to become global. The last probably 2 years, we got a lot more people that want mullets. So it's not like a haircut that's like too out of the box. But I'm gonna make this section here. It's like a half horseshoe parting. And then this is called I'm just setting the baseline, which is just where the fade portion of this haircut will end. And I'm not gonna do it all the way back here. I'm just gonna do this side panel here and then try to get it to taper off some longer into this long hair in the back. And I cut with it's called point cutting. If I cut it bluntly, there's gonna be a line that it just looks not as blended. Barbering, a lot of it's just repetition. You will see the growth, especially early on, quicker. So that's kept me motivated to like push and do better and do more. Everybody's hair is unique, but it's not in some ways, I guess. It's the best way I could say it. So his hair, I definitely have had and have customers who have similar textured hair, colored hair, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's exactly the same. There's things that make it unique, whether it's problem areas or things that it does that are cool when I cut it a certain way. So the more you do it, you'll be more ready for certain types of hair or certain types of problems. I've had people see me who maybe went to a high-end salon on purpose, and he paid more on purpose because he thought if I pay more, it will be better. But he didn't really get what he wanted. As far as the pricing of a haircut, it has to do with skill and the person's time. To some degree, you're paying for like the location, the aesthetic of the place. There's some people that actually have like a name. It really isn't like as cut and dry a formula as I even thought it was. And there are places that are cheaper, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is a market for that. It just depends on what you value. Some of this beard foam stuff in his beard. This is like medium heat, low speed, and all I do is just blow drying this a little bit. If there's any knots in his beard, and to straighten it out, so I can see what the shape of his beard is like. With all of this out, I can see that this is a little bit longer than this, and then I just want to shape this up. And even on a full beard, most of the like aggressive cutting or more cutting is going to happen on the sides, because that's what keeps you from looking crazy. You do not want to line this up so that you see his entire lip. It will just look weird. And with a longer beard, if you have a beard this long, you don't want to typically shave even underneath your neck. The fullness comes from underneath, so you don't want to get rid of that. He's got somewhat of a round face, but by trying to square this off a little bit more, it creates that square shape, which is a more masculine shape. It'll balance it out. If his face is round, the haircut's square, the beard has a good shape to it that defines his face, it all around looks better. There you go, man. Yeah, you're welcome. I think I started in 2009, like with school and everything. So if you want to start from like the first day of school to now, so that'd be 12 years. He wants to keep his hair longer, so, you know, I still want to use the tools that I normally use. Like, just because it's a longer haircut doesn't mean I can't use a clipper, especially for the initial part, but a lot of it's just getting some of the major stuff out of the way. Started in cosmetology school and then got the barbering license. I had gotten out of the Navy and I had a roommate who was friends with a guy who wanted to open a barber shop, and there wasn't any barber colleges that would take the GI Bill, so cosmetology school would. So I started there with the intention of just getting the other license when I was done with that. When I was doing school and all this, I was in Southern California, which actually has a massive like rockabilly scene, and I just liked the aesthetic of those haircuts. So I knew I wanted to try to find a place where I could work to do that, but there wasn't a lot of options at the time. I figured the only way it was gonna happen is if I opened my own place. Some places I've been to, they have like a theme, like they had a very thought out way they wanted it to look, but I didn't really have that. It just kind of turned into what it is. Not looking for a certain type of person to come in here. It's like if you like what this is, then you will show up and you'll like it also. The advice I kept getting over and over again was make it the way you want it to be and people will show up, which is kind of a scary thing. It is a bet on yourself. I've been having some issues with my wrists, my hands, but to save my wrists and my hands, instead of holding it the normal way, just like this, and then palm to palm, I'm just holding them upside down like this. 6 or 7 years ago, I started to have, it was like one finger started to look weird. And then over time it got worse and worse, and then it started to get painful. I didn't know what was wrong with me. A friend of mine who had just got over breast cancer recommended a doctor who was a dermatologist, and he knew pretty much right away what was wrong, which is I had a severe case of psoriasis, mainly on my hands. It's just an autoimmune disorder. All it means is, for whatever reason, my body is telling, and the specific area is my hands, that there's something wrong there that needs to get healed, but there's nothing wrong, and it just tears up my hand. If I'm doing something where I feel like I can possibly save myself some pain or save my wrists, I'll just do it this way, and that seems to work fine. At the recommendation of several other people, including my doctor, I cut back some on my actual work behind the chair. I'm not looking for sympathy or, you know, all that poor guy or anything like that. And most of the time I can just work through it. Like the pain varies, but it's always there. Even if you don't own a business, I think everybody's had to, like, at some point just go, like, I'm not letting this thing prevent me from getting where I want to go. It's gotten me to at least stop and think about what else am I going to do if I can't do this all the time. Can this shop, you know, sustain itself with just other barbers, and I can just, you know, manage the place? And how is my role going to change in this place? What else am I going to do? Can I do anything else, like contribute anything else to this industry if I can't be constantly working? I can. It's just kind of figuring out what that is not easy.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. I think it turned out good. Very subtle haircut. Most people have something about their hair they don't like something it's doing. Make a haircut around that. Not only are you using that as like an advantage as opposed to a problem, it's easier for you to deal with it. People that don't think their hair could or would do certain things, and that's great because when you show them what you did, they're very happy because I didn't know I could do that. If you want a haircut that goes all straight back, but you have this part that just won't stop, there's only so much I'm gonna be able to do to make it go that way. So as opposed to trying to do that, the best thing to do is, well, we could do something like that, but use this parted area. It'll look better, and also it'll be easier for them to replicate it in the morning when they style their hair. A lot of the challenges are external. They have nothing to do with usually what I do for a living. Is more just like running a business, dealing with customers or people that want things from you or want to talk to you or want to sell you things, and then just making sure that the other barbers are, you know, making money and that they're happy here. Honestly, running the shop to a degree like takes away from the thing I used to really like to do, which is just cut hair like I'm doing right now. If it's your thing, on one hand, yeah, you have more freedom to choose what you want to do, you have more say, but it's also your thing. So you You have to be okay with that, because problems will come up, and then you are the answer guy. You are the person who's gonna try to figure it out. At the end of the day, you're the guy with you have to make the choice. That's hard sometimes. You wear a lot of hats, and it's not for everybody. Some people bring in pictures of what they want, and I've told people pictures are good as long as you're choosing pictures of people with like similar hair. The first couple of years I started doing this, I just tried to make everybody happy. So if they came in, and I kind of knew deep down like this isn't gonna work, I would try to make it happen, knowing that it's not going to happen. People usually do, they just bring a picture of some dude they like in a movie, and they don't have hair like that at all, and then they want you to replicate it. You're like, that's not how this works. And then you have to explain that, which isn't exactly fun. The best thing I would say as far as advice is just cut to the chase and get it over with, as far as telling them what's possible and what isn't possible. As long as you know that. If I don't think it's gonna work, I let them know. And it's not necessarily because like they don't have enough hair to do it or something. It's because it's not gonna do what they think it's gonna do, or it's not gonna look the way they think it's going to look. Like, yeah, you'll see a guy it looks cool on, but he has a certain look to him. Or if you did it on somebody else, they might look stupid. And you're like, I don't want it to look stupid. So you have to negotiate that. You're trying to make your work look good, but also make the client happy. I said this to my guys before, my job, I listen to what they say, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do exactly what they tell me. That's not my job. My job is to listen to what you say and turn that into something good. I'm not doing exactly what you told me. I think if I did that, it wouldn't look good. Certain things I've heard over and over again, and I go, I know what he means by that. If you don't want to put absolutely anything in your hair, you're gonna be limited to what I think you should get. So it requires a little work, and it's okay to ask. I've had people ask, well, how do I put this in my hair? With this pomade or whatever. And the truth is I want them to be able to do it as good as they can, because that's how other people show up. You being able to replicate it successfully helps me, and it helps you, because then you're happy with what you got and you know how to make it look that way. Some guys are not used to putting any effort into their hair. Doesn't mean you have to spend an hour on it and blow dry it and everything necessarily, but you gotta be able to comb it a little and put some product in there to make it look like the way you want it to look. And this is what I think the $1 million question is, at least is when it comes to men's hair, is do you want it shiny or do you want no shine? I like shine. It's got a classic look to it, but nowadays people want matte products. So this is a matte clay, one of the brands we carry. And matte clays or pastes typically work better in dry hair. This is a grease pomade. So this is very, very dated. Grease meaning it's a petroleum-based product. You need to be okay with the fact that it won't be one wash to get this out of your hair. With the people that come here, especially guys that ride motorcycles or have to wear helmets, they like grease because they can take their helmet off, they can comb their hair back into place. Also, these tend to last a lot longer than the water-based products. This is the water-based pomade. Water-based, it's simply just code for like, this will rinse out with water. That's all that means. So like this product, it will take several washes to get it out entirely. This one wash, it's completely out. It's really impressive because some of these have, really fantastic hold. And then to just have it like completely fall apart with just rinsing out your hair. Timeline-wise, this started using greases and stuff that was really difficult to work with at a certain point to something that rinses out after one wash. If you want to do like a very messy, textured, highly textured style, or if you have thinning hair, like real fine hair, or you're losing hair, this is a great styling product, but it's a powder. You want to put it in somebody's hair completely dry, but what it does is shorter hairs will kind of grab onto the longer hairs and push everything up and make it look messy. On one hand, you do want to be like technician, you want to be good at that, so that's your fading or your work with your scissors and other skills that you'll learn as you go or when you start. And then there's another side of it, which is more just how you interact with people. And at a certain point when you establish yourself, most people already know what you're about before they even show up. So then it gets easier and easier. They're like, I already know what these guys do best. I've already seen their stuff. You have to have people in your chair to do the job. So even if you're not really into like being friendly to people, you're having no choice to some degree. You're gonna have to talk to people a little bit. This shop has a lot of different people coming through here just by nature of where it's located. I personally feel a little more connected to like what's really going on out there sometimes. Just asking different people with different occupations what's going on. I feel like that's like the direct source. Anybody can do it. Picking it up and doing it and getting your license and stuff, that's easy. Lasting through this is pretty hard. I think a lot of people will go through school, think they want to do it, and then you get out there and, you know, get your ass kicked a few times and you're done. It's hard, especially starting out. It's competitive kind of in a way. But if you can get settled in somewhere, shop where you feel comfortable and you can start having the right people in your chair, you know, just people will have like faith in you, you will make it. Watch a haircut video and be like, I know how to be a barber now. You have to apply it and do it over and over and over again. And you know, the more you do it, the better you'll get. But then a lot of it's still continuing to grow in it and learn from it and evolve in it. That's all on you to do. When everybody's doing stuff and I like see everything like kind of working, that's exciting. There's been a few moments where I've been doing something else, turn around and I see like everybody's busy, having fun, talking. And I'm like, that's cool because I did it.